Marklin here with your video thought for the day. All right, another special request that's come in that I've been sitting on for a little bit of time because I've been trying to chew on it, exactly how to best do it in a sense, is a question one of my friends sent in about how I might read a text as a lawyer. Because there are a lot of law terms that are used in biblical writings. Now, the law was functioned differently back then. Courtrooms did differently than they do today. But they certainly had courts. They had courts in the Old Testament. They had courts in the New Testament. They had courts outside of biblical countries and biblical lands. And so there's some interesting words. And I like them, especially with the way Paul uses them. So one word that was targeted to my attention in this email was used by Paul in 1 Corinthians 9. It's the word defense is the way it's translated. And Paul in Corinthians is making a defense or asking whether he needs to make a defense for himself. And that Greek word is apologia. Apologia is fascinating, because at its roots, it means to provide a defense. All right, now work with me on this. When Socrates is being tried for basically corrupting the youth of Athens, Plato writes up the trial as Socrates' apologia, his defense. Justin Martyr, when he's being quizzed on Christianity, he's an early church writer, writes an apologia, a defense of the Christian faith. Now, the thing is, this apologia, spell it out, A-P-O-L-O-G-I-A, is the basis of our English word apology. Comes almost directly from it. But it's a fascinating thing, because when apology was first being used in English, like go back to the 1500s, the 1600s, it was used in the sense of a defense, a legal defense. But gradually over the next 100 or 200 years, your legal defense would include sometimes a confession or contrition or a sense of regret over something bad that happened, even though you have a defense you're offering. And then over time in the 1700s and the 1800s, the idea of defending yourself became less of the apology, and the sense of regret and even contrition became more of the meaning. So today we live in a world where apology means I did something wrong, and let me say I'm sorry, rather than its original meaning of here is my defense. We still have a little bit of that original use in our word apologetics, which is defending what we believe. Now, this is something that rises to my mind as I look at the biblical terms, because one thing becomes apparent when you read the Bible. Words have meaning, and those meanings shift. And we need to always try to read the Bible in its original context with its original meaning before we try to understand it today. But I must tell you, there's something that does not shift. And that is God's love for you and his wishes for your best today. And I've got to plug that in, because after all, this is not just an English lesson or a Greek lesson. It's your video thought for today.